Welcome back, everyone. Today's video is just a short discussion about a few things that just happened in the uranium market. So I had another video planned and mostly done. And then something happened this morning and I'm like, I'll ignore it. And then something else happened this evening and I really wanted to ignore it because it's still not final, but knew I would be facing a mutiny, so the other video was put on hold for a few days, and in the meantime, I will discuss what just happened. So over the past few days, I saw a number of people saying capitulation. Is this capitulation? Is this it? Is this the bottom? And the volume didn't look right. But so for my view, the answer is no. And I think that now some pieces are falling into place and the answer is something different, something far, far dumber. There's two main things that have, well, over the past 2 days been influential in some of the uranium stocks. One is month-end rebalancing and I don't want to say manipulation, but just basically look at some of the past month-end days in the uranium market, and there's been some shenanigans that happen. So that partially explains a little bit of the weird close today. But as for yesterday and the number of stocks that have been under pressure, well, that's something else. That goes back to my good old friend, the URA ETF. Now, this story is so, I don't know, that I'm probably going to forget to mention part of why it's dumb. So I kind of wrote it down. But basically, the URA ETF was trading in a bit of a range for technical analysis people out there. That's what they'd say. And then it was at the bottom of the range when they decided, you know what, now is the time to change the ETF a little bit. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put in the world's largest uranium producer. Now, ignoring for a second the question of why that was not done months ago, ignoring that, let's move on to what should be kicked out of the ETF to make room for that. What should be sold to get the money to buy Kazatomprom? Should they kick out Barrick Gold and other majors that don't really care about the price of uranium? Nah, that would be too easy. They had to instead dump a bunch of low liquidity junior mining stocks, thereby crushing or hurting some of their price. I won't go so far as to say crushing, but one could argue that they severely hurt the price of some of their components. Now, not only did this hurt their shareholders, but it also caused basically the pricing of their components to shift down, which ended up, ironically, breaking their own technical pattern and probably causing a whole bunch more selling. But hey, that's just what happened. Now, the bottom line really is that they were selling companies that had no buyers in order to buy Kazatomprom, which they probably also bought a bit aggressively, and that kind of jammed up the price of Kazatomprom if you've noticed that recently, along with knocking down some of the other prices. And that mixed with month end, and you had a weird couple of days. Then, today, after hours, there was a video that surfaced of an official supposedly letting it slip or commenting. I don't know if he was supposed to say or not, but he commented that there was a budget line of 150 million US dollars that was earmarked for strategic uranium purchases from inside the US. Now, there's not enough details there to go into details because it doesn't say what the price is per pound, if there's a cap, how it works, how many pounds they want to buy. And also, this doesn't mean that it's final. So for now, it's just a line in a budget. I don't know how it will go or how the market will react to it. Or at this point, looking at who stands to benefit is a bit of a question depending on the details of how many pounds, or are they just going to split it and how do they split it? Which, again, we don't know yet, and we don't even know if this will actually happen. Now, what to watch for in the days ahead? Well, next week, I suppose. Well, if we look at the components of the URA ETF as of the 30th, and again, that's before Friday, it was 18.5% Cameco and 5.8% Kazatomprom, meaning if they're trying to balance it more or less the way I would think they would, those two would probably need to eventually be more or less equal. So that means that it's probably not over yet. Now, Kazatomprom did have a lot of volume on Friday, so maybe they bought a whole bunch more. Again, we'll have to watch and see how much of that they have left to buy and how when that will be completed. Now, why I mention this here after talking about the U.S. News is that if there is some more selling, then that could mean a muted move in the U.S. stocks if people do get excited on this newest rumor. So those are really the two things that I wanted to say in this video. So I will conclude by a short little story where today I said something on Twitter and someone commented on my joke saying that they could almost hear me saying it. So I will say it. My comment was, oh, you are a disastrous ETF.